Fordham here, talking about multiplying polynomials. Now, when you've been doing this beforehand, you've actually been multiplying polynomials beforehand. For instance, you were doing 2, oh, my marker's already done on me, 2 times 4. And it might not really seem like it, but that's just one term, which becomes 8. Or maybe the more likely experience you've had is something like this, where it was the distributive property. Well, this is actually 2 polynomials, because right here you have a monomial, and over here you have a binomial. So you've already been doing this in a way, but it's going to seem a little different today. And for those of you playing along at home, this would just be 2x plus 6. All right. So there's 2 methods to approach this. Method 1 is simply to distribute. So what we're going to do is we're going to do just like I showed you, distributing, except we're going to do it one term at a time. So I'm going to start with 2x. And distributing, the operation associated with it is multiplication. I'm going to distribute 2x to x squared, 2x to 3x, and then 2x all the way to negative 1. So it's going to become 2x times x squared. Then it's going to be plus 2x times 3x plus 2x times negative 1. But we didn't distribute everything. That's just the first term. So then next what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and distribute the 4. And we're going to do it to the same thing. So we're going to distribute 4 times x squared. Then we're going to go ahead and do 4 times 3x. And we're going to have to tack this on at the end here. 4 times negative 1. Now all you do is you go back and clean everything up. So for instance, 2x times x squared. Well, the 2 will still be in front, so that'll become 2. And x times x squared is x cubed. So now we're going to add the next term. 2x times 3x. Well, 2 times 3 is 6. And x times x is x squared. Let's try the next one. 2x times negative 1. Well, 2 times negative 1, that's going to become negative 2. And the x just kind of trails along. All right, let's clean up the next part. 4 times x squared, well, that's easy. That's just going to be 4x squared. 4 times 3x. Well, 4 times 3 is 12. And the x just comes along. And last but not least, 4 times negative 1 is just going to be negative 4. Now, just like in the last topic where we were adding and subtracting polynomials, what we have to do here is clean up stuff. We're looking for the same last name. So, for instance, we're looking for something else that has x cubed, and well, nothing else has x cubed. So our answer is going to be so far 2x cubed. But 6x squared shares a last name with 4x squared. And when I combine those, 6 plus 4, I get 10x squared. Then we can combine negative 2x and positive 12x because they have the same last name. So negative 2 plus 12, that's going to be 10x. And then last but not least, the negative 4 just comes along. And there is your answer. Now, to some of us, that's going to make a lot of sense, and that just works, and that's great. Not for everybody. So for those of you that are a bit more visual, we have a second method called the box method. Whoa, my paper's getting a little tangled up here. All right, so method 2 is called the box method. And as you can imagine, it looks like sort of a box that we're about to work with. It's kind of a weird table, actually. All right, what we're going to do, I actually pre-made this table, as you can see. We have 2 terms here and 3 terms here. And funny enough, I have 2 spots here and 3 spots here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take x minus 7. I'm going to write x and negative 7. I'm going to put the 2 terms right there. And going across the top, I'm going to do x squared minus 4x, and then I'll do 3. Now, I put this dot here, which hopefully you know is multiplication. What this means is for every open box, I'm going to multiply the 2 things that come to it. So for instance, I have x squared and x. When I bring those together in that box, that means I'm doing x times x squared, which is x cubed. Now in this box over here, I'm doing x times negative 4x. That would be negative 4x squared. Because we have negative 4 times, well, 1, and we have x times x, which is x squared. The very last box is pretty easy. X times 3, they just go together, and you get 3x. Now we go to the second row. X squared times negative 7. Well, there's nothing really to combine, so you just put them together like so. Negative 4 times negative 7, that's actually going to be positive 28. And there's no x, but there's an x there, so just x. And last but not least, we're going to do negative 7 times 3, that's negative 21. Now, just like in the other method, what we have to do is once we get our table set up, we have to combine like terms. And I always like to start with the highest degree. So in this case, that's going to be x cubed. Well, there's nothing else that shares the same last name, so I'm going to go ahead and just put it down here as x cubed. And when I use this method, when I'm done, I usually like to just cross it out just to show I've used it already. I don't create any overlap. All right. Now let's take a look. I see an x squared here, and I see an x squared there. So since they have the same last name, we can combine them. Negative 7, take away another 4, that's minus 11x squared. Again, notice how the last name doesn't change. When you're combining terms, it doesn't change. It's just the first name. Cross them out because we worked with them already. Okay, then we have an x here and an x there. They have the same last name, just x. 28 plus 3, that's 31x. Cross him off. And then last but not least, just minus 21. He just tags along. There's nothing else to clean up, so that's our answer. Thanks for watching.